video that I could use to sort of call for input from people from my generation about what they think about diabetes design and you know, what inspires us as sort of the next generation. So I hope you all had a chance to view the video. I sent it out via email, but I think Cory's going to hopefully share a snippet of it here and talk a little bit about his thinking and what he was doing with the video.
So I wanted to first introduce myself. I'm Cory Oringer. I'm 17 years old. I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 3 years old. I had no symptoms. I was actually at a regular pediatrician appointment, and I took the urine test, and we noticed some extra sugar in my blood, and so in my urine, sorry. And so we went through further tests, and it was found out that I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. About a month later, my brother Justin, who at the time was 9 months old, was also diagnosed with diabetes. So it was a rough time for my parents. We were both really young, and it was a complete change for them. And I think as the years went on, I had a pump. I was the first person in Quebec the first child in Quebec to wear a pump. And my parents, I always remember seeing my parents, or overhearing my parents. Sometimes there was some screaming on the phone with some of the doctors and some of the nurses at the hospital because it was so different. It was so such a change for them that they really didn't want. They just weren't ready for that change, and my parents really pushed for it. And I was the first child in Quebec to have a pump. So ever since I've had the pump, it's been a huge change for me. And I play hockey all the time. I'm really active. And I have to say that the pumps allowed me to do all sorts of things thanks to that. I wanted to first thank Amy for letting me come as the teen ambassador. You know, I'm the only teenager person under 18 here, so it's it's really a privilege to be here and to be with so many people who know so much about diabetes. I take it from, you know, as a patient. I have that perspective, but all of you have that industry expertise. That I've been, you know, this morning when I was sitting at the table, I was happy to just listen, and I didn't necessarily have much feedback from the industry side, but as a patient I could offer, you know, all my experiences, and that's really what I want to do today. I want to talk for about 5 minutes, and I really want to talk about the video I made in preparation for this summit. I wrote a whole script near the end of August, and then one night, it was the night when the news broke out that Steve Jobs was resigning as CEO, and I was 20 minutes after the first news stories were coming out, so it was fresh news. I started posting it on my Facebook page, and people were going crazy. All my friends were like, "What? That's crazy!" And and then I saw some pictures on TMZ. I'm not a TMZ fan. I'm not into that, but I was told by some people to go check out some pictures which were really sad of Steve Jobs' situation, and he was really frail looking. And I completely changed my script, and I totally was inspired by his story. I went on a total YouTube frenzy. I was watching Steve Jobs videos and Apple videos for a couple days, and I was inspired right away. The biggest video that inspired me was Apple's Think Different campaign, which he was referring to when he came back as Apple CEO. And he talked about how Apple needs to go back or restart with a fresh motto, a fresh mantra, or a new manifesto. And that they're ready to change the world, and sometimes it takes crazy people to change the world, and so I just wanted to show you that video before I keep going.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round round heads in the square holes. The ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
So after watching that video, as I said, I totally changed my script and was really inspired by Steve Jobs. And the biggest news, that a lot of the news stories that came out after his resignation, I heard about, or was reminded about all of his different achievements and accomplishments, and what made him so special and so unique, and what turned Apple around. And that was the ideas of design and simplicity. And he brought that back, and that's what's made Apple so successful, the last few years with all their new innovations. And I think this video really links well to why we're here today, and I think it's all about simplicity. And I've gathered feedback in the last month since posting my video, but really, given that it was only a month, it's really the feedback that I've received over time. And that's that things need to become simpler in the diabetes world. When we're managing diabetes, it's got to become simpler. And what I mean by that, in the biggest sense of the word, is all about convergence, converging technology together. Every day, take for example, I'm going to school every day, and I'm dealing with the 3 Ps. I'm always trying to remember my 3 Ps. And I've got my pouch, I've got my pump, and I've got my phone. And I can never forget these 3 things, because this is what I need every day. And my phone's really the hub of where I do everything. And so, and for some people, the pump maybe is a pen instead. But it's all about the 3 Ps. Every day, everywhere I go. And the fact that I have to carry on all these things, in my pouch I've got my meter, my lancing device, test strips, I've got the glucose tablets. Today I carried an extra infusion in case my number goes high, who knows. So, all these different things, why can't it be simpler? Why can't we be like, take Apple's initiative? Why can't we be like them? And I said in my video that if we had Steve Jobs here, he'd remind us to think different and to achieve design, to be really simplistic and just to be as efficient as possible. If you're going to give us convergence, I'm talking on behalf of all teenagers now. If you're going to give us convergence, it has to start from the smartphone. The last presentation alluded to that. The smartphone is where where we do everything these days. It's not just a phone, It's got all sorts of unique capabilities, and it's combining all sorts of things. And I don't really see why it can't combine medical devices into that too. So if you can have the smartphone as the focal point for all design, that'd be awesome, because we'll never forget our smartphones anywhere we go. And obviously we've mentioned today that in order for this to happen, I think we need to bridge the gap between all the different constituencies that are involved in the diabetes world. I mean, you think about, we talked about the FDA, we've talked about medical product companies, which are well represented today. And we talk about smartphone companies, which I don't think are represented here today as well as they should be. And of course, this is the first event, and that's my hope, that if we can add that side of things, and if we could add, we saw that there was someone from previously who worked for the FDA, but if we could have current FDA people from the FDA, I think that would be huge, and I think that that's the way to bridge the gap. So, us in here, we're the crazy ones, and we're the ones who need to take the initiative, and Amy's taking the initiative by setting up this event, and it's an event that I know will continue for years to come. I'm heading off to college for the next 4 years, and who knows, maybe 5 years down the road, if I can come back, you never know. maybe we'll have, I hope that we'll have all sides of this problem collaborating here and changing the world. Thank you.